TeaFairy Storytime. Well, TeaFairy and Friends Storytimes and Adventures. We've got all kinds of fun things in stock for you, so stay tuned. Today, I've got my friend Priscilla Polar Bear here with me, and she is going to have tea with me. You see how beautiful she's dressed? When you have tea, you dress up for a party and you put on your little tiara and your little fur, or you don't have to. You can just put on some fairy wings. I brought my own tea with me. Do you like my magic wand? Isn't she pretty? I brought my own tea with me, and I don't know if you can see this, but maybe people can look at it. It's got lemon balm and roses and orange peels and hibiscus and passion flower. That was the one I almost forgot. Passion flower. So these are all edible flowers. The orange peel, of course, is not a flower, but orange peels, actually oranges start out as a blossom and they smell really good. And I just dried it all in a dehumidifier, but you can do it in your oven. And then you chop it all up and you've got your own tea. And I grew almost all of this except for the passion flowers and the oranges. I found the passion flowers growing at a neighbor's yard and the oranges I got at the grocery store. And when I make tea, I found these cool little baggies that I can put individual amounts of tea in my own little tea bag. That way I can recycle them and reuse them. And I've got a scoop. And I just put a little bit of tea in my tea bag. Whoops, let's see if we can do this without spilling it everywhere. That's the hard part. Then you got to push it down in the tea bag and tie your string. I like to leave a loop, that way I can undo it and do it again. But you want to make sure it's nice and tight, otherwise it comes out the top of the bag and you get clumps of stuff in your tea, but I kind of like that myself. I don't know if you do. And then, yes, we put our tea water in the cup and we let it steep. And I'm going to let it steep while I read you a story. All right, ladies and gentlemen, little people, fairies and elves. Today's first story is Like a Spark. And I'm actually not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read you a chapter or two because this is a chapter book. And I just finished reading it on my podcast. This is by an author named Lyndsay Stanley, and I've actually got a picture of Lyndsay here. Can we zoom in on that, my ladies and gentlemen? Miss Lyndsay Stanley is from Ontario, Canada, and she sent us this book. She lives with her 2 children and her husband there in Ontario, and she is a writer who has written both adult fiction and children's books. When she is not writing her next book, Lyndsay enjoys learning new things about ancient history, painting, and playing with her kids. And the artist that did these beautiful illustrations, which you cannot see on a podcast, by the way, is named Obaidullah Awan, which is a really challenging name. But the reason why I had to share this is because every chapter is only like 3 pages long, and every chapter has a beautiful illustration. So the first chapter is The Tarpon Horses. And I'm going to let you look at the cover while I read it. Petra looked over her shoulder as she bolted across the grassy plains of Cassock Valley. Petra smiled to herself. No one was faster than her on the straight, and she knew it. There was a small creek ahead of her, and then the vast plain continued for miles. She forced her head down and ran faster, faster and faster and faster, and she ran until she could see the multitudes of horsetails waving in the wind. She could see her herd in the distance. She was almost there. This was the type of day that Petra loved. The sun was shining, the wind was blowing her beautiful white mane in the wind, and there was absolutely no grown-ups to bother her. "Petra, hey Petra, wait up!" yelled Philia, another young horse who had been chasing her unsuccessfully. Petra laughed and decided to play a trick on her friends. She turned around and started to run the opposite way toward her friend. Petra closed her eyes and ran right into Philia as she was crossing the creek. They both fell backwards into the stream, laughing and splashing. "Ah, you got me. Hey, Petra, isn't today the great gathering?" "No, that was yesterday, wasn't it? And besides, we're just kids. We don't have to go." Yeah, we definitely have to go. At least I do, since I'm the master's daughter and all, Philia said with her nose in the air. She didn't ever let Petra forget her status as the master's daughter. All right, I guess we should go back. Race ya! Petra didn't wait for an answer. She just bolted across the plain toward the herd. When she heard the herd, the horses were all positioning in 2 straight lines, with the most important horses in the first line. That's where she belonged. Her father was the head healer of the herd, which made him very high up. Petra nudged her way toward her parents and stood beside them. She looked up at her mother's face. She was a beautiful white horse with a long, soft mane and crystal blue eyes, and beside her was her father, Barton. He smiled down at her with his dark brown eyes, his light brown mane tickling her as he whispered silly things into her ear that made her giggle. Petra turned around to the sound of a loud screeching. Nay! Petra looked up and saw the master standing directly in front of them. His name was Duncan, and he was a horse not to be crossed. His stern black eyes looked down his herd, and his coal black coat glistened in the sun. Order, Tarpon horses, order! Duncan's voice boomed across the plains, and everyone was silent. I have called you all here for your regular gathering so that you are all aware of the changes that need to be made to the herd. This is where Petra stopped listening. These horse meetings were deathly boring. Instead, she discreetly played with some pebbles that were conveniently sitting at her feet. Petra, her mother nudged her, listen carefully. This is important to all horses in this herd. Begrudgingly, Petra lifted her head to listen to Duncan again. Just like every other year, we will be changing directions shortly as the season is beginning to change, and we do not want to see any of our horses sunburnt or dehydrated. Oh, this wasn't news or exciting, thought Petra. This is particularly important as we have experienced great loss in our herd lately. As you all know, my second in command, Chester, has passed on. Oh, okay, this is serious then. My newest second in command will be the horse that worked so diligently to help Chester. Barton, that's Petra's dad. And that's the end of that chapter. See how short the chapters are? They're not very long at all. This is a great book. There's really beautiful illustrations throughout the entire book. You can find this book on Amazon, which I think it was $20 for a paperback. It's like $3 on Kindle. Ooh, look, she gets wings. Petra becomes, what is that called? A Pegasus? And if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free, which is not a bad deal. And then if you go and find my podcast and you look for season 6, you can read the whole book along with me, 1 chapter at a time, 1 episode at a time. And let's see, find another beautiful painting. There's so many. She has a friend that's a bird that teaches her how to fly. And, oh, there's some bad wolves that are hunting them, which wolves really in general are not bad animals, but in this story they are. I love wolves. I've actually owned a dog that was kind of like a wolf. And see, there she is guiding her horses, her herd, and she ends up becoming very important to her group of horses. It's not a flock of birds. What is it called? A herd of horses, that's it. Did you know different animals have different names for groupings? Like, for instance, a group of crows is called a murder of crows. And what else? A group of lions is called a pride. Kind of interesting. Anyways, that is Like a Spark by Lyndsay Stanley, and it's a fun book, and I really suggest you pick up a copy and read it. Hi, kiddies! Gregoire the Great here. Let's see what TeaFairy's friends are up to today.
Hi, kids! It's a Rex moment, and I'm here with my friend, author Lyndsay Stanley. She wrote this lovely book that's next to me called Like a Spark. It's about a horse. Lyndsay, can you tell us, well, welcome, first of all. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to write this beautiful book?
Well, the book is about a horse that's very different than the rest of her horses. in her herd. And she has to decide if she's going to be sad about how she's different, or if she's going to use it for the good of everyone else around her. So the idea came from my experience of being bullied as a kid. And so I wanted to write a book where a character was facing her fears and able to overcome bullying in a good way.
And she does too. She seems to like fly above it, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand being bullied. I'm different than a lot of people, and I've been through my own fair share of people making fun of me because I'm not a fierce dragon. I'm a friendly dragon.
Yeah, it's hard to be different.
It is hard to be different, but you know what? It's important to embrace all of our differences, because if we were all the same, what a boring world that would be.
Exactly.
So, Lyndsay, when did you start writing?
I think I was about 7 when I started. I remember sitting in a desk at school and just folding papers together and writing and drawing out little children's books. There was ones about foxes and bears and robots and spaceships, and it would just be anything really. And my parents kept this big shoebox of like 100 little books that I did when I was a kid. So I can't really remember a time when I wasn't writing.
That's wonderful. Would you encourage young people to write stories and write books?
Oh yeah. I mean, not that I think anything that I wrote when I was a kid was particularly amazing. It was just the fact that I took something that I wanted to do and I just did it because it was enjoyable, right?
Yes.
And eventually over time, if you like something, you're gonna get good at it, right?
Practice, right?
Exactly.
I think you said something to me one time too about it being something that helped you kind of escape the moment and go other places and use your creativity.
I mean, when I watch movies or read other books, they take me places that I've never been, and I like that. So to create a place is even better.
I bet it is. And Lyndsay, last but not least, can you tell us a little bit about something that you do other than writing that you're very passionate about, that takes practice and patience, and that you enjoy?
Well, I used to quilt. So quilting is when you take square pieces of fabric and you sew them all together until they make a big blanket. And so being able to do that well takes a lot of practice and patience, and it takes a lot of time to assemble it all.
I bet it
So,
does.
yeah.
How long would you say?
Oh, it depends how diligent I am or how much time I take in a day. Like, so if I have a whole day to do it, maybe it would take me a week, something like that.
Wow.
But
But for like a big quilt or like a baby quilt?
maybe that's like a little kid quilt.
Okay.
Yeah.
A big quilt probably takes longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun to be
Yeah.
creative. I'm impressed that you can make quilts, but right now you said you have little people in your house, which makes it hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
Yeah.
2 kids, so I don't get to quilt very much.
Well, Lyndsay, I'm really appreciative that you came on the show. Do you think you'll be writing more books soon?
Yep. I'm working on some big people books.
Big people books. Those are fun too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Talk to you later.
Hi guys, Gorgonzola Z Fromage here, and I'm at Queen Anne Farm in Bowie, Maryland, and look at all my friends. So we're here because TeaFairy heard that there's a unicorn playing in the pumpkin patch, and we're gonna go look for it. See if you can find the unicorn. Okay? Here we go. That one's named Chicken. That one's named Chicken. And that one is named Chicken.
named Chicken, 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 Chicken. I think I caught this silly unicorn. She's right here. She can't lift the pumpkins, though. They're too big. We're gonna go look for smaller ones. You ready? Look at this one. It's just the right size for me. I had so much fun at the pumpkin patch. What a fun day. Mwah! I kissed my pumpkin. I think that's all of them. There's some more down there. They're named Chicken too.
Wow! That was great! Let's check in with TeaFairy and see what story she's reading next. Hello, welcome back to TeaFairy and Friends Storytimes and Adventures. I am done letting my tea steep, and I like to call this brand of tea fairy tea because I'm a fairy. Yummy. You can taste the lemon balm and the oranges mostly. You don't really taste the roses. Did you know roses are related to apples? That's why the little rose hips look like little tiny apples. It's true. Our next story is called From Dark to Light, and it's by Isabella Murphy, and it's illustrated by Natalia Perez. And it's received a Pencraft Award. It was the first place winner in the 2018 Literacy Excellence. And Miss Isabella Murphy is just a little girl. She's not even an adult, which means that even you, little ones, can write stories too. You see the pumpkin vines, how they're swirly? Isn't that neat? Did you know that they have spikes all along their vines? I've gotten pumpkin slivers before. You have to be careful when you're picking your pumpkins. From Dark to Light by Isabella Murphy. Thank you, Isabella, for sending this in. So excited. From Dark to Light. Old Mr. Smith's wife digs a hole in the moist soil of their farm and gently sets me inside. As she encloses my space of light and happiness, fear fills me. A world of darkness surrounds me. I feel like I'm trapped in a cave. I can't breathe. I wish I could see the birds flying above. I want to be free like them. What do you think she's planting, guys? There's a little tiny white seed. It's teardrop shaped. I started off as a slim white seed. There I am. There's nothing special about me, just a plain, boring, ordinary pumpkin. I am planted next to my two sisters, Plumpalicious and Plumplina. We really don't have anything in common, and they don't care about me, since they are girls and I am a boy pumpkin. My name is Pumpker, means weirdo in our secret pumpkin language. Plumpalicious winks at Plumplina and says, "Snail sna, blah blah. Creepy anya, blah blah," Plumpalina replies. "What's that supposed to mean?" I ask. They both giggle and point at me. I don't get their jokes. I am lonely in the dark cave. The only things in front of me are a dirt wall, a slimy worm, and thick tree roots from above. I move away. The crumbly dirt touches my back, and I know I have nowhere to go. I don't know how much time passes. Every day is the same, but one day I wake up and notice something different. Light pours into my eyes. As I squint through the brightness, I see green tendrils sprouting from my arms. And when I look over to my right, I can see the faces of my two sisters, who are also rising from the darkness. Their eyes sparkle with awe as they look at the world around them. More time passes as I continue to grow. Plumpalicious and Plumpalina ignore me even more as they giggle and show off their new curly tendrils to each other. I'm getting a little bored. This is what I've been wishing for such a long time, to be out in the sunlight. But now I want something different, something wonderful. I want to be loved by a family. And so there he is, and there's his sisters way far away from him. This Halloween, I will be picked by a boy or a girl to bring laughter in some sort of way. I don't know what I will encounter, but I hope it will bring me tears of joy. I just can't wait to be picked by a child, and I see that my sisters are anxious too. For once, they forget about their tendrils and focus instead on the excitement that fills the air. We giggle and laugh about it together. This is so nice having someone to talk to. I'm close to being a full-grown pumpkin. Just a few more inches to go. Look at all the pumpkins. My life so far has been very full of changes. Every day is passing by so quickly. I look up and see trees decorated with many colorful leaves. One leaf falls and hits the ground softly. Halloween is coming. I wonder what it will be like at the family's house. Tomorrow, I can't stop thinking about that beautiful day when I see the delighted faces of all the children. They'll roam around the pumpkin patch, dragging their parents, pointing at this pumpkin or that pumpkin. Have you guys ever been to a pumpkin patch? I love going to the pumpkin patch. I went to sleep late last night. I couldn't help thinking about the pumpkin patch. I see cars driving in the parking lot as I slowly wake up. More and more cars approach. I see little kids racing down the small dirt hill to pick a pumpkin, and behind them, their parents slowly walk down. There's one little girl that stands out to me, and my sister. She jumps over pumpkins and screams with delight. I see her coming my way. My nerves tighten, and my heart beats faster. She tells her parents to help her pick me and my sisters up. We are set down on the dry dirt while the parents pay. The little girl looks over at us once in a while and smiles really big. See, even fairies make mistakes when they read. Smiles really big. So big you can see some of her teeth are missing. Ooh, look, she must have had a visit from my cousin, the tooth fairy. Have you guys ever lost a tooth? They grow back, right? Right. What about pumpkins' teeth when they have missing teeth? Do you think they grow back? I don't think so. When her parents are done paying, they pick us up firmly. I look back and see Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith winking at me. It's so hard for me to think I'm actually with a family ready to be loved. And the best part is that I've got Plumpalicious and Plumpalina with me. I smile and a tear falls down my face. I look out the car window. The countryside views are incredible. I see green trees on the faraway mountains and yellow weeds behind the iron fence. I can also see the slight breeze of the wind beside me. Right then, I think about the birds flying above. They probably feel the breeze too. I am a bird right now. I am in paradise. Do you see the bird? And it looks like a cat. The ride seems long, but I enjoy the cuteness of the little girl next to me. She keeps talking to us and laughing all along. I laugh too, even though I can hardly understand what she's saying. Her liveliness interests me. I wish I was like her. As we pull up into the driveway, I see 3 pumpkins just like us on the lawn of another family house. I can see that the pumpkins have scary grins, odd noses, and crazy eyes carved into them. I can also see tiny lights inside them, which makes them look like the sun. The parents take us inside and set us on their table. On the table are various types of tools. The little girl and her father sit down together. The father grabs a tool and starts carving my stem. As he does this, I get so excited I'm going to get to be a silly face like the pumpkins on the lawn. Being with a family is even more fun than I imagined it to be. He circles around my long emerald stem and picks up another tool. This tool looks like a spoon. He begins to gently scrape the seeds and sets them in a bowl. He continues this with my sisters. Then, with a different tool, he begins to carve eyes in me. The eyes are round and have frightening eyebrows. Plumpalicious has a stubby nose with a wart on top. I can tell she doesn't like it from the disgusting look on her face. And last but not least, Plumpalina has swollen lips the size of a baby squash. I guess I'm not the only weirdo in the family now. Next, the girl opens a box full of candles, and one by one, the girl places a candle at the bottom of our pumpkin bodies and giggles. I turn my head around and see the mother setting our seeds on a plate to dry them in the sunshine on the windowsill. I'm excited. This is the most fun I've ever had in my whole entire life. I guess that would be a pretty exciting day for a pumpkin. Okay, there we go. The mother, father, and little girl grab us and set us outside next to the other 3 pumpkins on the lawn. The 2 adults go back inside the cozy, warm house, but the little girl stays for a moment, watching the 6 of us. Then she grins and skips back indoors as I lie down with the biggest smile on my face. I glow as the night begins to fall. Which one do you think he is? I don't know. I'm going to guess that one. It looks like the happiest one. Or no, he had the frightening eyebrows, remember? He had the frightening eyebrows, so that must be him. He still looks pretty happy. There we go. The end. Wow. That was a fast ending. I didn't expect that. Happy little bird. And there's the spirally spirals again. And let's see if there's anything on the last pages. I don't know that there is. Whoop. Nope, that's it. That was From Dark to Light by Isabella Murphy. Thank you, Isabella, for sending in this lovely book. Super fun to read it. I'm very proud of you. I hope you keep writing. And for all you little people out there that want to be authors, see what you can do. She's even an award-winning author. That's pretty special. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Bye.